I greet my brothers and sisters with the greeting of peace. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I welcome all of our guests. First and foremost, my name is Yusha Evans. I came to Islam in 1998 and I did not change my name. Yusha is just the Arabic form of Joshua, which is my birth name. I did not change my name because if you have a good name, you don't change it. And plus my mother would have killed me and my grandmother. And secondly, this talk today, God willing, is not a personal attack on anyone nor their beliefs. It is my sincerest intention to tell my story, as I've been asked, of how I came from where I was to where I am now, as honestly as I can, and as they say, the cards fall where they may. But the only way anyone will benefit from this is with an open mind. As the old adage goes, that a mind is like a parachute. There's only one way that it'll work, and that's if it's open. I was born in a small city called Greenville, South Carolina, which is on the east coast of the United States. And I was raised by my grandparents. My mother had stepped out and my father was working 2 jobs, and then he moved to New York to take a job. So I stayed with my grandparents, who were both retired. And they were very old-fashioned, to say the least. They were very conservative and very much so religious. We were very attached to the church that was at the end of our street. My grandfather was full-blooded Native American Indian, and he was the patriarch of my family as a typical male patriarch figure. And my grandmother was the child of Irish immigrants. And there was a lot of religion in my home, in the sense that we went to church on Sunday mornings, we went to church on Sunday evenings, and we went to church on Wednesdays. It was a necessity that you sat down at my kitchen table and you prayed before you ate, you prayed before you slept, and all of these things. This was very much part of my upbringing. And there was no such thing as music in my home, other than the music that my grandparents approved of, which was music I did not want to listen to whatsoever. There were no girls allowed in my home. There were no parties. I didn't go to school dances, all of these things while my grandfather was alive. So I had the typical nerd upbringing, as they say. And the only thing I knew about religion growing up was, which most children like me know, is Sunday school was pretty much my religious upbringing, which was before the normal church services. I went to Sunday school and we sung songs and painted pictures, and we learned about Noah and the flood. We learned about Moses and the children of Israel and Pharaoh and splitting the Red Sea and the bondage of Egypt and wandering in the wilderness. And we learned the story about David and Goliath, and we learned the stories of Jesus feeding the 5,000 with the loaves of bread and the fish. It is 15 hours behind for me, so my mind is still in the United States. We learned about the Sermon on the Mount and the crucifixion and the resurrection, and all. This is pretty much the crux of what I knew about my religion growing up. Then my grandparents would remove me from there and take me to the normal Sunday service, which was extremely boring. It was not like what you see on television, televangelists with drums and jumping and screaming, and it was none of that. We went to a Methodist church, United Methodist Church, and the benches were somewhat like what you're sitting in today, quite uncomfortable. And you stood up and you sung a hymn, you sat down, you listened to the preacher. You stood up and you sung, you sat down, you listened, you stood up and you sung. And that was pretty much it. And I had, like I said, typical normal upbringing, loving grandparents. All of that somewhat changed at around the age of 14. At the age of 14, I started to go to Saturday evening youth services. You could go at the beginning at 14. And that was a lot more fun than even Sunday school, because we played basketball, we played volleyball, we played dodgeball, we had pizza and cake and candy and all that good stuff. And then in the end, for 30 minutes, our youth pastor, who lived across the street from me, would sit down and he would give us a 30-minute sermon about religion and God, and something that was beneficial for the youth and the problems and the temptations that youth face. And I really liked that. I really liked the way he presented it. He presented it in a bold and fresh, new type of manner. I'm starting to sound like Bill O'Reilly now, bold and fresh. But it was a lot different and a lot more interesting to me. And when I turned 15, I began to attend high school as a freshman. My grandmother could not take me to school because she was battling cancer at the time, on and off. She battled cancer all throughout my teenage years. So she talked to the youth pastor's mother